Hey, anybody who happens to be here. You're not going to be able to see me, unfortunately, because it's 2019 and I don't have a webcam. So the first thing I want to say is I have not really prepped or done any sort of like pre-established work on the thumbnail that I'm about to work on with you at all. I'm just kind of decided to dive into this because I have a little bit of extra time today. So I'm just finished up on making, I'll let this play a little bit. You get a little bit of a preview of this week's upcoming Sunday video of the show's second season. Wally West runs so good, circling the globe multiple times in the span of just a few seconds, that his molecules begin vibrating at such a speed that he actually phases out of the third dimension and into, well,
it's so beautiful here.
So I'm working on, or I just finished the Speed Force video. It was voted by our Patreon supporters. I'll kind of bring this up real quick. I've got a second screen over here that you can't see because you're all not as cool as me. So this is our Patreon. At the $3 tier, you get to vote for upcoming videos. And so the winner of this last vote, it was a tie originally actually between the Speed Force and I think it was a Gods and Monsters video. And Speed Force won out by like 3%. So wound up doing that one. I believe you should be able to hear, I've got some stock music playing in the background. I was gonna play Justice League soundtrack music. I actually did a little test with Maddie before we started this, and I played, I think, like 5 seconds of the Justice League theme song, and got a copyright claim email immediately. So we're not gonna be doing that, but I'm just kind of putting a little stock music in the background just to make it at least a little bit more pleasing for you than just my voice and nothing else. This is an entire playlist of the music that we use in the videos. So there's also a little insider information here for you. Hopefully everything's coming through okay and sounds fine and everything. But anyway, what we're here to do is I have to make the thumbnail for the Speed Force video. And so I am gonna just kind of do whatever I would normally do. Like I said a minute ago, I have not done any prep work on this previous. I haven't found any images. I haven't done anything. You're just gonna take a ride with me as I go through this completely. If I don't have a webcam, then how do I show my face for the live podcast? When we do the live podcast, I use my phone for the video, but I haven't figured out if there's a way or how to or whatever put myself through that feed as I'm also doing here on the computer screen. So I apologize that it is a little bit boring, at least here at first when we're kind of getting things started. But no, it's not pre-recorded, and no, it's not Zeta. So so right here I have open the thumbnail PSD that I always use. Because it's the same one that I've been going off of since the start of the channel. It is a ginormous list of layers here. This is going back all the way to the first video that we did. So like let me see if I can hide all the layers that are currently on. So this is the border going around the edge. I've got just kind of some general stuff that's general stuff. I saluted, but you couldn't see it. The logo in the corner, all that sort of thing, that usually has stayed the same, though we did have a different, I wonder which layer it's on. There's a different logo for a while, because I ended up changing it at one point to make it a little more sleek like this. Buy a webcam so we can spy on you. Okay. I'll do that later. Oh, here we go. So I just turned that layer on, but I'm gonna go hide the other one. This probably looks kind of chaotic, but I know where everything is. That was the old logo. Of course, it's being covered up by yet another asset here. That was the old logo that we had in 2015. I want to say 2016 is when I changed it to be a little more graphical magnificency. And but I'm not going to be using this PSD for what we're about to do. I'm going to completely start from scratch. I'm still going to be using some of the pieces from this that I'll just copy over, but I want you to see kind of a ground up version of what we're doing. So the only thing that I can think of while I'm doing this that might be like cringy or something is if there's anybody watching this who is like, whoa, I do thumbnail work or I do Photoshop at all and you're not doing it the way I would do it. Yeah, everyone has their own kind of style. For instance, I'm going to do this in 1920 by 1080 HD, but I'm not going to change the resolution from anything higher than 72. That itself is even already, not necessarily super low because it's going to be on this teeny tiny little YouTube rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new thing. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our graphics folder. This is where I keep all, you're getting lots of little sneak peeks here. It's where I keep all of the graphics that we reuse for stuff. There's our egg baby, the face, the guy from Tim and Eric, all sorts of stuff. Will It Canon logo, spoiler alert, question mark, arrow, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the backgrounds folder and grab my stripes. This is just an image I made a long time ago that I've been using in the backgrounds of our thumbnails for a while. So I've just pasted that into here, starting point. Usually I'll change the color of this depending on what type of video that we're going to do. Like the vanishing point has more of a purple background. You can see this one has like a purpler background. I'll kind of tweak that stuff toward the end once I've figured out exactly which images I'm using, because there's, for instance, like the Flash is very red, so I wouldn't want to keep him on the red because it's not going to be very popping and you're not really going to see that. And I don't claim to be like a thumbnail expert, I guess, but I've been doing this YouTube thing a little while. I'm going to go into my JTS Entertainment thumbnails. This was my old channel. I haven't put anything on there in at least a year, if not more, maybe 2 years at this point. And everything kind of started off pretty. Let me see if I can find like the first thumbnail I ever did. I want to say it's one of these Brigadier Crenshaw ones, probably like one of these. Very basic, there's the Brigadier Crenshaw. This is a movie that I made in high school. So there he is over on the right, and then I'm changing the number and the featured image here, depending on which part, what's an important part of the video that you were watching there. But eventually moved up to, I added this little gag reel thing if it was a gag reel, and I kind of took the Watchtower Database style and did something similar for our more recent videos on that channel. But like I said, haven't done anything in there in a while, so I'm just kind of showing you some really old ones so you can kind of get a glimpse of, at one point I was doing colored backgrounds. It kind of just takes a lot of trial and error before you end up coming up with kind of the style that works for you. So like I said, I don't claim to be an expert, but there's definitely, an evolution. For instance, to start here, I used this font. This is our folder full of all of the 12 Level Intellects thumbnails. And so at the start here, I was using this kind of lackluster, not very cool looking or interesting looking font. But I'm kind of going off of the clickbaitiness of like a Mr. Sunday Movies kind of thing, or he's always using yellow text and arrows and circles and all this stuff. And his stuff is kind of like tongue-in-cheek, like purposely, like he knows he's being ironic with it, but it does work, which is the unfortunate part, because I always feel kind of like a shell of myself if I'm making these thumbnails with these big timeline, whoa, yellow text, and like we even did, our see if I can Justice League versus the Fatal Five Easter eggs. We got, I put an arrow and a circle in the thumbnail of that one. So there's all sorts of tactics that everyone kind of exploits, to get everyone's attention span is ridiculously small. So do whatever you can. But anyway, enough of me talking about nothing. I'm going to go ahead. So I got the stripes down. I'm not going to try to do too much like hosting of this. I'm just going to kind of go for it. Let's see, we got graphics. So I got my borders. I'm just going to kind of talk through what I'm doing. So this is our Watchtower Database thumbnail border. I've got a handful of different borders for different shows that we do. There's a Legacies one that's the red and yellow, specific hex colors that we use in those. It's important to keep like a branding, you always using the same colors. Our 12th level intellects, 12th level intellects is always the same, yellow and green. This was Trivia Tuesdays, this is Vanishing Point, that kind of thing. So, and graphic content was in there too. Graphic content deserves a shout out as well. So I'm going to copy paste that over. So now we've at least got kind of the base stuff going on. I'm going to just copy the exact, where is it? There's so many layers. I turned it off, so now I can't find it. What have I done? I want the logo. There we go. Logo 2016. Oh, that confirms what I said before, that it was in 2016. So I'm going to copy that because I've already sized it exactly how I wanted to a long time ago. I'm going to jump in real quick to the chat over here, kind of see what's going on. I've got it on the other screen. You guys can't see it, but you can see it wherever you are. What do I think of Doom Patrol? I haven't made it through all of Doom Patrol yet, all of the first season, to Maddie's chagrin. I have been watching a lot of other shows. I've been catching up on Jessica Jones. I'm on season 3 now, finally. And there's a lot of superhero shows to watch, so I'm kind of behind. How's my day? It's going okay so far. I finished the Speed Force video, so that's nice. Use Microsoft Paint. Yeah, really, like, I know Maddie was using Paint for his book report video or book club videos he was doing before we switched it over to this channel, to the Watchtower Database channel. So really, it's whatever's at your fingertips, whatever you can use. I'm going to copy the style from this. So on the logo, I've got 3 different strokes. I've got there's different strokes for different blokes. I've got this blue one. These are all, like I said before, this is all the Watchtower Database colors. So I've got the blue one, green and red. That's the same ones that are in the logo. I've got those layered in such a way that it kind of, you know, if I turn that off, you can kind of see that it doesn't, come on. There we go. If I turn those off, you can see it kind of doesn't catch your eye as much. It doesn't really fill in the space, but once I turn it on, it's like, oh, what's that? Not that I necessarily want you to look like right here, but it's kind of like a, I don't know, it's just an across-the-board thing that you'll see on all of our thumbnails, is that logo there in the bottom. Just, you always know, except for that one, you always know it's a Watchtower Database video. You'll see it on the side panel, like, oh yeah, I know those guys. They're so handsome and cool. So we've got the logo, the border. So like I said, I'm gonna copy the layer style and I'm gonna paste it onto here. So we've got the base of everything. Let me see if I can go over here, back to the chat. Does anyone remember Crypto the Superdog? Of course I do. How would I not forget? If anyone can afford Photoshop and is looking for an alternative, there's an application called GIMP. Yep, I have heard of that. I've never used GIMP. It sounds kind of like a not super nice word to use, but I don't know. I've heard it's good. I've heard it's a good replacement. Probably because love the content and podcast. Thank you. 3 arrows and a whoa reaction. Yeah. So you will notice that there are some of our thumbnails that are a little bit more clickbaity than others. We've kind of been trying out a handful of new tactics lately. Like, this one that I made for the video you're watching right now is purposely very like, whoa, check it out, oh my god. But like compare, say this one right here, the Vanishing Point, he tried to kill him? Whoa, what kind of stuff? Exposed! Is he a zombie? That kind of stuff. Compared to like, I'm trying to try to go all the way back to the start here. Okay, so Casting Call Kevin Conroy. First real video on the channel. I don't know what Casting Call is. What is that? I've never heard of this. Who's the Daddy apparently worked pretty well, because I think it's still the top viewed video on the channel, or it's one of the top. You know, just compare it to like the Batsuits. Not super interesting. Maybe if I was going to do this one now, I'd have it be, you know, like Batman has how many suits, or, you know, something more like I want to click on that. But yeah, you know, we've kind of figured it out as we go. So this one being about the Speed Force, I'm definitely going to want to use a picture of the Flash, but I don't know exactly which picture. We've got an entire kind of catalog of images from the DCAU, all sorts of different categories here. I'm going to go into our promotional photos. So this is all of our collected, or at least a lot of them. Maddie's done a lot of collecting on his own of stuff that I hadn't seen before, which is great, but I haven't added them to my own personal files yet to use for stuff. But you know, so we've got, if I'm looking for Flash, here's one, but it's kind of small. That's something else I'm also looking for all the time, is how well is this going to work when I blow it up to, you know, the size needed for the thumbnail. Oh, it's all pixely, it's gross. I'm not going to use that one. So I can keep looking around. Here's kind of a good one. He's jumping out. I might use this one. I don't think I've used that in a thumbnail before. That's the other thing, is I try not to reuse pictures in our thumbnails more than once if I can help it. That does make it hard to find new pictures sometimes, but like, think of an example. I know I've used this Batman from Batman TMNT Adventures. This is the second time I used it. I think the first time, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, but I think the first time was in like a kind of a different purpose, like it was for like a Matthew Manning interview or something like that. So if I don't want to use this same picture of Kronos in another thumbnail. Like I want you to associate, oh yeah, I've seen that video before. I remember that picture of Kronos' face. So, oh, Maddie's here in the chat. So I guess if there are questions that are coming up that aren't specific to the thumbnail process, I'm probably gonna skip over them as I go, so I don't take forever on this. But yeah, Maddie can kind of pick up the slack. If you're wondering, hopefully the music's not too loud. I'm gonna turn it down maybe one notch here. There. It's probably helpful. Where do I get the music from? Most of the music that we use in the backgrounds of videos are from the YouTube, whatchamacallits. Let me go to it real quick. Oh, I already had one open. No, not Switch account. You son of a bitch. I want to, oh my god, what am I doing? YouTube Studio. There we go. It's just it's like a media downloading area, other features, audio. We got, so yeah, there's just kind of this free audio library that YouTube gives you. And hi Manu. And yeah, I've kind of just gone through this and kind of picked through it because there's a lot of good stuff here, and it's all free to use. Sometimes they'll have, like it'll tell you you're free to use this song, but sometimes it'll have like you can use this, but you have to put blah 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 in the description. So yeah, most of that's where that comes from. We used to use actual music from the shows, from Batman the Animated Series and from Justice League and all that stuff. But we started getting a decent amount of copyright claims on that I'd have to go in and either re-upload it or just, it was a bad idea from the start, but I didn't think that it would catch stuff like that necessarily, but I was wrong. So far, this is my number one pick for the Flash image because I haven't used it yet in any other video thumbnail that I can remember. And it's a pretty good, like, straightforward, like, oh, recognizable, I see the Flash, there he is. Any of these other ones aren't necessarily as cool looking of a pose. Like, this isn't bad, but it's kind of small, so again, that same problem. Same thing with this one, not a huge, I kind of want to go for ones that people don't use very often. So like you've seen, this Green Lantern a million times everywhere. I don't want to use that one if I can help it. Whereas, like, how many times have you seen this Green Lantern, or how many times have you seen this Green Lantern? So, but just in case there is a better option, I'm going to go to The World's Finest, which I frequent quite a lot. This is a website run by Jim Harvey from Toon Zone. It's been around since, I believe, 1998. Yep, 1998. Yeah, it's a great place. If you haven't been here before, I highly recommend it. It doesn't have everything you'd ever want in terms of, like, who's Dr. Destiny? This doesn't tell me a ton. That's a bad example. There's some on here that are like, see if I can. I'm not trying to dog the website, but like Mirror Master, yeah. Mirror Master was a guy, and he was in one episode. Like, that doesn't really tell me anything about him. I want to know more. So that's the only thing that I don't like about it. But there is a ton of cool stuff here backstage. I've gone to this Fun Keepers section quite a lot for thumbnails or for just use in videos. Like, you'll recognize this John Jones from a video. I think I said just some sort of like, why, or something, and I used that picture. Which version of Photoshop do I use? This is the current, most updated version. I've got the Creative Cloud subscription service that I share with Mark, who works on the Legacies of the DCAU comic with us. Anyway, yeah, so stuff like this is just like, it's just like funny frames that they've found. That's not really what the main bulk of the website is. I mean, there's all sorts of, there's storyboards that you can check out, all sorts of stuff. Not really trying to advertise for them, but it's a great website. So I come here sometimes if I'm at a loss for a thumbnail picture, because they've got a lot of screenshots. And on the bios page for a character, so I'm kind of looking for something similar to that promotional image that kind of stands out. This is kind of cool, but you can't really tell who it is immediately. It needs to be something that, like, you can look at. Ooh, you can look at in like 2 seconds and go like, yep, that's the Flash, and I want to know more. I want to click on that. Let's see. I'm too stubborn to let WB beat me. Yeah, I know. It's very difficult. I always want to just keep going no matter what happens, but, you know, I can't even quantify how much money I've lost. My first 2 JLE videos combined over 200,000 views made. Oh man, I'm really sorry about that, Jay. That really sucks. I've just been kind of waiting for that to happen to us, to be honest, because you know, we'll occasionally get copyright claims on stuff, but it usually goes away. Like, we can confirm with them that we didn't do anything wrong, or we re-upload it with the change to whatever was the problem. But it does really suck, especially when the videos are hours long. You know this song, huh? Which song is playing? I can't actually hear it. Oh, hey, it's the song from the start of the Black Heroes Matter video. So anyway, I'm glad that music's playing, because I think it would be a little more boring if it wasn't. Anyway, I'm still looking for kind of a picture that will work well. This isn't bad. Honestly, I'm still leaning toward that one that we found here. I'm gonna look in Just Like Unlimited promotional. There's not a lot of that. Here's the Flash on that. Not amazing. Let's see. Is there a Superman Flash one? Oh, here's. It's pretty small. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the one back here, which is. Nope, that wasn't it. Where'd it go? This one. So I will bring this back over to my other screen so that I can just drag it into Photoshop. And here's the part that Jay was looking forward to, because you're gonna watch me crop out the Flash from this, and you know, it's super exciting. Something that will help me out before I try to do that with the pen tool is I'm gonna just crop him at all. And luckily this picture has, you see no Zeta pics, Jake? Well, you want to see some Zeta pics? Okay, let's find them. Okay, Zeta Project. Here's your Zeta pics, bro. You like it? Do you want more? Here's Zeta doing a thing. Here's Zeta doing another thing. Here's, oh, it's Zeta. And then we got, yeah, the Zeta Project model sheets. Man, you don't get to see these yet. Wait for the Watchtower Database website that will be coming out sometime between now and when you are 60 years old. So, automatically, I can just kind of crop out some of this stuff that's bulky. What I was saying before was I'm lucky that this background is kind of almost a solid color, because I should be able to use the magic wand to just kind of get rid of that completely without having to crop it out in a less fun way. So I'm going around just getting the main areas gone from this. I'm honestly impressed that there are as many people in here as there are right now, because I didn't think this was that interesting of a thing, but I figured I might as well do one of these while I'm doing this, because why not? So I can see little areas I'm going to have to manually crop out. Yes, that is exactly correct, Dylan. The website will be out 50 years from now, whenever now is. That is the perfect way to describe it. In all honesty, I've been working on the website for a long time, but there has not been a lot of recent work done on it, because we do these videos twice a week, and I'm also in the middle of making a movie via reality, and I'm also making the comic from time to time. All sorts of stuff. So there is definitely a lull in the work on that, but it is not over. I will not give up. It will happen. So I'm going with the magic wand and getting rid of stuff that's very easy to get rid of. When it's this small of an amount of stuff, I can kind of eyeball it with the lasso here. This isn't my preferred way to do it. I'll use the pen tool to do the next one, so you can kind of see. So I'll go through and I will I'm pretty picky about, like, I don't even like that angle. Pretty picky about making this pretty perfect. I want people to see the thumbnails and not just go like, oh man, he spent absolutely no time on that. That looks terrible. So what I just made a selection using the shape I made, and I went in and deleted that. Pretty cool stuff, you guys. I'm here to learn from the masters of the thumbnails. Thank you. I disagree, but to each his own. Hold up, you're making a movie? That is correct. I've been making a movie since 2015, writing the script for about a year before that. It is about me being brought into the internet to fight Google, which was a pretty timely topic in 2014, but it's not it's not as big of a deal right now. It's kind of a big joke about Google taking over YouTube and changing all sorts of things that nobody likes, which is still prevalent today. It's not like it's not still happening. It's just not as obvious or not as bad anymore. But anyway, we're getting close to done filming, so he has some junk. I don't know what you're talking about, Manny. He has some junk by his lightning bolt. He does? Where? Here? Oh, wait, no. I don't know if that's what you're talking. Oh no, that's part of his foot. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I don't know what this is. Anyway, but sometimes, I mean, this can be deceiving. I'll be like, oh, this is completely done. I've erased all the background, and then I think I see what you're talking about. This guy right here. Boop. I have to manually cut everything out as accurately as possible. Yeah, me too. That was a bad example, I guess, of me cutting out this guy, because he had a bunch of solid color around him. It was really easy to just select that and delete it. But anyway, where will this movie be released? Hopefully it'll be on Amazon Prime, other streaming services. I'm going to be doing a premiere in a theater near where I live, but there's not going to be probably like an actual theater run. I don't really have the budget for that. And that's kind of the way to go nowadays. I might be circulating festivals. I will definitely, if you're a subscriber to the Watchtower Database, you will know about the movie. Because when it's been my life dedication besides this channel for the last half a decade, and I want to make sure everyone will know about it. Nah, Maddie's cool. He's good. I understand his language by now. I've had instances of being like, what? Did you call me a doofus? What? But I get it. Anyway, what I was talking about before is I think I'm done. Are you having a seizure yet? How much I'm doing this? I think I'm done doing this, but then once we actually copy this over to the, I'm gonna name these background. What's this guy? This is the border, and this is the logo. Okay. So I'm gonna paste them in. Actually, well, I don't know for sure yet. So you'll notice on all our thumbnails we have a white border around everything and a drop shadow behind it, and that's again to kind of make them pop off of the background. So I'm going to find these layers, scroll through all the bull crap. Okay, so there we go. This is the flash layer. I'm going to copy that style, and I'm going to go and paste it onto this new guy. And sure enough, there are bits that I missed. It's very hard to tell unless you do this. So I'm not going, you can kind of see there's just little nubbins sticking out in random spots. Here's another one. I don't have to necessarily go all the way up to the edge of him. It's just wherever there happens to be a little crud hanging out that I can kind of guess where it actually is. It's not the cleanest line there, but when it's thumbnail small, you're not gonna be able to tell. There's a little more, but I'm gonna move them up so I can see that there's definitely stuff left. Batman fan, just joined. James, you're making a movie? Yes, I am. I'm not gonna go through the whole spiel again, but yeah, you'll know about it. If you're subscribed to the channel, you'll definitely hear about it when it's done. We're almost done filming, and then I've got a bunch of special effects to do, and then the world will know. It's popping! Yeah, Jake, you're right. See, you can kind of start to see it developing up here in the little preview. You know, the recognizable stuff you see from all of our thumbnails. Ugh, all this gross snot hanging onto his leg. Okay, oh, that's his arm. God dang, there's feet stuff too. It's all over the place. I hope there's a Google Plus joke. That was the whole premise of the movie entirely. At first was Google Plus. Eventually it just became Google in general because Google Plus became less and less popular, or less, well, it never was, but less and less in the zeitgeist, I guess. Like, people don't remember or care about it really. So, and I think it just officially closed like a month ago or less. But I believe there is a joke about circles, which was like groups on Google Plus. So anyway, am I archiving the stream? Yeah, I always post the live streams of our book readings and the podcasts. I'll post this. So anyway, I watched a video of Comic Drake's a little bit ago where he was talking about how you always want to put what you want the audience to see first and foremost on the left half of the screen, because most people read left to right, or at least most of the people that will be seeing our video thumbnails. But I have a tendency to kind of do the opposite of that. It kind of just depends on the pose. Again, I'll go back to our channel so you can kind of see examples. It kind of depends on the pose that I'm doing. So like here's some of our most popular videos. People are generally on the right side of the screen, except for this guy. Again, left, right, right, right. Well, actually, I guess Egg Baby's on the left. He's the most important character in that thumbnail. Left, right, all over the place. You get it. So it kind of just depends on, you know, what looks best, what makes me feel nice and warm inside. I can already tell I'm not going to want a red background for this, but again, I'm going to wait till the end to change the color depending on what is best. So I'm going to make the text here. So this is the part that I end up playing around with the most, because it kind of becomes a process as it's happening. I think originally this said something like which order or something like that, and I didn't really like how that looked. And then this is also a different font than we usually use, but it kind of helped you know, it's a different universe than we usually talk about it also. So but anyway, so I'm gonna make a new text. It's already way too big for me to see what I'm doing. At the start of the channel, I had kind of a hey, it's lorem ipsum, bro, lorem ipsum. At the start of the channel, I had a kind of a guideline for myself that I would only do font in like 250 or 120 size or something like that, depending on like if it was a title or a subtitle. But really, it doesn't matter if it looks good. So it's already the right color. This is again the same yellow we use every time. It's important to not change that up because you want people to take a look. You want people to both see the flash and go, oh, I like the flash, and click on that. And you want people to go, oh, I've seen other Watchtower Database videos. That looks like one of those. I will do that, which is also kind of important to set up your own style. So, you know, the stripes, the fonts that we use, that kind of thing. So let's see, on the timeline. So again, I've got there we go. I've got a stroke of black, and I've got a drop shadow that kind of helps it pop off of you can kind of see it by the E and the N, pop off the screen a little bit more. So I'm going to copy that style. I'm going to paste it onto this guy. So this is the same, since this is the last time that I typed something in Photoshop was when I made this thumbnail. It's still doing this font, and I think it's the same size too. No, not quite. But so it's going off of what I did last time. When is our next interview? We actually have interviews recorded already with Eric Carrasco, who wrote Justice League vs. Fatal 5, and Sam Liu, who directed Justice League vs. Fatal 5. They've been kind of sitting in limbo until I get a good time to post them. We talked recently about posting them during our little upcoming hiatus from the podcast. We're going to get to episode 52 of the podcast, and then kind of reconvene to decide how to make it better, and then start a new 52. My characters are almost always on the right side, so it works fine. Yeah, it's just whatever ends up looking best. What's the next 12th level intellects? Well, we talked about Young Justice. Definitely going to talk about Young Justice. Maddie's got to catch up by like 10 episodes if he can talk about it with us. A couple interviews. Yeah, Marcy Dalmatian's already ahead of us. You're not... Oh, he's talking to Jay. You won't believe these facts about the Speed Force. Yeah, we'll find out. I think I'll just leave this saying lorem ipsum. We'll see how that goes. We still got music going? Yeah, we do. Okay. I gotta check in on that every once in a while because I've got it headphones plugged in. So I'm gonna just kind of put a temporary text here, and I'm gonna change it back to what our normal font is, just so you can get a sense of where we usually start, and then I'll go from there of whether I want to change it or not. So this is typically the font that we're using. It's called Oswald. Why did it only do... I don't want it to do that. I want it to do this. There we go. So, you know, maybe like a couple years ago, I would have gotten to like this point right here and just been like, that's good. But I kind of want to spice it up more. I'm going to see if I can find an image of... Actually, I know the perfect image to use. I'm going to find a picture of Impulse, because we talked about Impulse a little bit in the video. So I'm going to go to my artwork. I'm going to go to commissions. I'm going to go to the Patreon commissions. Oh, don't look at this guy's name for sure. And then we go to, I believe it was Trey that I did it for. Yep. So this guy here, this is a drawing I did of the Flash family for one of our Patreon supporters. It's got a pretty good... Honestly, I probably could have used both of these guys in the thumbnail. Maybe I'll grab Jay from there too. But it's a pretty good impulse image here to draw from. And this, I guess, will be a good example of me cutting it out. I could just go into my original PSD file of this drawing. But that's not as fun. So anyway, I'll drag this guy over. I can close the Flash because I'm done with him. So I'll keep the chat open while I'm doing this because this is the more tedious part of the thing. What about Tom Turbine? We do talk about Tom Turbine in the video as well. You're on the right track. What are you even talking about? There we go. Okay, so again, I'm going to do as much as I can with the magic wand so that I don't have to... Also, I'm going to go ahead and copy this into a new thing so I don't accidentally overwrite my original drawing. Okay, so I'm going to cut out as much as I can of Wally over here. Goodbye. I'm going to delete this layer so that everything's transparent. And let's see how this does. Oh, it's doing okay. I can tell there's a little dot there that's not going to clean up, so I'm already just going to grab that. Go again. Maybe I can bump this up a bit. See if it'll select more of it. Yeah, that's helping. Ooh, okay, got a decent amount there. Yes, Lego Pete, we will talk about Young Justice on the next 12th Level Intellects. If you were listening, I already said that. Gosh. If you were listening to every single word I said, what the heck? So I'll go back in and delete this chunk of Mr. Wallace West over here. Is it no coincidence that his name is Wally and he has an Australian enemy? Something to chew on. Do you ever work non-destructively with masks? I'm not positive what you're asking. Are you talking about masks on Photoshop, or are you talking about masks on humans? Because I have a lot of Halloween masks in my storage unit. Don't ask why. It's because of the movie is why. Okay, so again, I think I've got everywhere, but I know I'm going to copy it over and there's going to be some boogers hanging on, so I'll turn off this guy. I'll turn off the Flash also, kind of just give myself a clean area. And moment of truth. Oh, there's so much. Oh god. Alright, masks on Photoshop. So what do you mean by non-destructively? Do you mean like not deleting stuff? I'm not positive what you're asking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. Adam. I don't know. I'm so sorry. Let's see. What's in there's stuff in the chat going on? James, would you rather watch all of BTAS/TNBA but only once, or watch the Dark Knight trilogy and Batman 89 infinite times? Oh, don't make me do this. God. I don't know. Probably the infinite Dark Knight 89, because if I had to watch something a million times, those would be good choices. There's so much gunk left over from that, but and even though I have to go in and do this to get rid of the extra schmutz all over here, it still was a lot faster than me going and manually cutting him out as I go. Yeah, I saw your thing. How far away are we from getting the full DCAU viewing order? Oof. Well, you know, Maddie was working on a DCAU timeline on his blog on Tumblr for at least like 4 or 5 years before we met him and started talking with him and got him on the channel and everything. So it's a lot of work, especially we're we were just talking about this in our newest Vanishing Point yesterday, is that the Batman the Animated Series part of the timeline is a little more complicated than most things. Like, we already know pretty much exactly when every Justice League Unlimited episode happens, and most Batman Beyond Zeta Project episodes, those are all pretty easy to pin down. But Batman part of the timeline is a lot more complicated. A lot of episodes are just out of order for no reason. So it'll be some time, but that's kind of the goal with all the timeline Vanishing Point videos, is to eventually, have it all ready for you. The DCAU one that we just did was a lot easier because there are, 12 movies or whatever, whereas if you total up the episodes from these shows, it's hundreds and hundreds, so it's a lot more work. Disappointed you don't use actual human thumbs. For what? Oh, for thumbnails. Oh boy. Oh, Mark. No, Mark, no. Shave cream. I don't know what's going on with the Hello Kitty talk and everything. I'm just gonna keep going. Have you ever met Bruce Timm or Phil Barassa? I have not. I have met Maddie and I and Ted, maybe? I can't remember if he went over too. Have both met Greg Weisman, who is the showrunner of Young Justice, because he was just randomly at the Comic-Con we were at in Seattle in March at Chris Jones is the artist for the Young Justice spin-off comics. He was just at his booth. He was just hanging out. So we went and got stuff signed by him and met him, and that was kind of cool. It was pretty. I wish that I was a bigger. I am a Young Justice fan, but I wish I was a bigger Young Justice fan. I would have been Bruce Timm level geeking out about that, but instead it was just kind of like, oh man, that's pretty cool. He was also the showrunner, or at least one of the producers on Gargoyles in the 90s. But it would be awesome to meet Bruce Timm. I would have 1,000 questions for the guy. And if he does have any idea who we are, it'll be way more, not awkward, but there's going to be some stuff that I want to ask him that he might just be like, oh my God, it's these guys. Oh no. So hopefully that's not how he sees us, because, hopefully he sees us as more perpetuating the fandom of his work and not being, too annoying about it. Are the episodes Terry's friend dates a robot and the egg baby is when the animation of Batman Beyond changed? Are you talking about the digital coloring and stuff? I believe that's Eyewitness is the first one that is digitally colored. Which better, Young Justice or Teen Titans? Oh boy. I think I like Teen Titans more. I don't know if it's sacrilegious to say. I really do. I like Young Justice Season 1 a lot. And Season 2 is pretty good. I wasn't the biggest fan of Season 3. There's a lot of good moments. There's a lot of really cool stuff. But we'll be talking about that a lot in the next podcast episode. How do you feel about the fact that BTS Blu-rays divided up the seasons differently in the original DVDs? I didn't even notice that, to be honest. But the DVDs already divided it up into volumes that were different than how it actually aired on TV. So it's never really bothered me. I just understand, yep, that's how things are released, I guess. While I'm kind of answering these questions, what I'm doing here is kind of trying to find the best arrangement of these two. That they're not, as you can I kind of use this navigator window here to see kind of a preview of what it might look like on a YouTube web page that's about the same size, maybe a little bit bigger, but still. So I'm kind of not liking how Flash's highlight is really bright white right neck, and then there's the white border, and then we have white Impulse costume. So it's not I don't know. It still looks cool, but it's not popping the way I want it to. So I'm gonna kind of just keep trying random stuff here. I'm gonna try flipping Impulse and seeing if I don't know if that's gonna be better or not, because now he's facing the other direction. Why, usually, a big burst of Flash characters, like ones that we used in the video. Yes, my hard drives are very full. Donate to our Patreon so that I can buy more hard drives. Patreon.com/DCAU Watchtower. So anyway, going into Speed Force folder. So I used all the, these pictures of various, Flash family group shots of, they're all bursting out of the same direction. Where's another one? I'm sure you can see it before I do. I mean, in general, superhero action shots are like this. So I don't think I want to have them facing opposite directions like that. So let's see if I can maybe make, I doubt it, but I can maybe make the contrast on Flash a little bit. I mean, that does match Impulse a little better, but I don't want to make it too dark either. But kind of what I was going for was making the highlights not as bright, but I don't know if that's gonna work the way I want it to. It's not really. I'll bring it back to what it was. Let's see. So what can I do? I'm going to leave these guys how they are for now because maybe changing the background color will help. And yeah. So let's bring back the text. So definitely not just going to have it just say Speed Force. Let's try... Well, let's keep the word Speed Force because that's definitely what I want people to see about the video. And I'm kind of checking the navigator over here as I cycle through fonts. Oop, that's not gonna work. Just to kind of get an idea of what something might look like. That's way too hard to read in a tiny way. I know I've got a handful of kind of cool sci-fi looking ones. Let's see. Ronan says, what was the Agony Matrix a new power gain from Brainiac, or did Darkseid have that power all along? Darkseid and Brainiac, despite popular belief, did not mix together in when Darkseid was brought back. According to Bruce Timm, that's Darkseid's Kiss armor. Alive and Destroyer, those are both names of Kiss albums. Those are the names of the Justice League Unlimited finale episodes. So yeah, there's actually no Brainiac in Darkseid. He's just got some kind of unexplained fourth world mysticism about him that we don't really know about. Why did he have his little kryptonite dagger on his person after getting resurrected? I mean, I guess he could have gotten that from his ship or something. It's probably just fourth world tech. Do I prefer the TNBA Batsuit or JL Batsuit? I prefer the JL Batsuit. The TNBA Batsuit is the least interesting looking Batsuit. Fight me. We were using that one already. We tried that. I'm just looking for a nice font, I just want a nice font to sail down with. We got this. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's kind of sci-fi looking. That's the Terminator fonts. What about this guy, Watchman? I just used this one in the DCAU video for the meanwhile and to be continued title cards as kind of a little wink. Where's that Terminator one? I'll try that one and we'll see how that goes. So I can already tell that the spacing of this guy is way too thick. Who just messaged me? No, okay. So I'm gonna change. I kind of have to do this manually to just kind of get the. I like it when the letters touch each other. And it looks like this font is kind of spaced where every letter is about the same width, so that's kind of cool because it means that I don't have to try to resize anything to make it fit nicely. Thick, yeah, for sure. But I can kind of, drag it a little bit, rearrange it. At this point, it makes the most sense to put the text up here. But so what I want to pay attention to is right down in this corner is where you're going to see the little time markers on YouTube videos. So I stray away, I put the logo in the other one, and also when you put your mouse over, you can see a little add to your watch later and stuff like that. So I don't want to put something important on either of those spots. So I like to not put anything right here. So if I put that right there, it would get covered up partially by the time. I don't want that to happen. But there's not a really good, move impulse up. I'll probably delete his little hand, take my strong hand. I'll probably delete his little hand back here. I don't like their faces lined up like that, but I think I can probably make it work somehow. Let's try that, and then we'll move this to right here, and we'll kind of play around with the size. I don't know if this font's gonna work the way I want it to. Have I ever watched Beware the Batman? I have watched, I think, the first episode. From that point, I don't think I've watched anymore. I'm going to try to give this a little bit of life, maybe, since it is about speed after all. I don't know if this font's going to work, but we'll keep trying it out. Because it covers up. I don't want to make the font too small. Because, that's hard to read if you're looking at it on YouTube. I want it about the size I had it at a second ago. But I can't really find a good spot for it. Like, this is probably the best spot, but then these guys aren't really jumping out well. I don't really like Flash's leg just kind of being a weird chicken leg back there, so I'm kind of hiding that. I really like the alignment of those guys, so I'm going to kind of see if I can make the font work in a different way. Maybe I'll try this. It's again a little too hard to read. Let's try this. Let's try grouping these guys. I do a grouping not very often, so forgive me, Mark. There we go. I'm gonna try flipping it just to see if that'll help. So maybe, but now this is my dilemma. Is now the the lightning logo on Flash's chest is backwards. So I'll keep going depending on if that bothers me enough. Because maybe it'll be okay. So this is better because now the angles are working with each other. Just to kind of make this, I don't know if impulse is working in this. I really want him to be a part of it. Maybe kind of jumping over the top of the text is a little better for his spot. So let's keep that like it is for now. Now he's reverse flash. That's correct. Yeah, let's see if I can change him to... Oh, I almost had it. I thought maybe I could do like the inverted colors, but I don't think I'm going to be able to, because actually inverting it's going to look like that. That's insane, man. Okay. But I do want this to be not red, because as you can already tell looking at this, it's very much easier to see the flash among all of that instead of when it's just red. Oh, impulse in front. Not a bad idea. Let's see what that looks like. So let's scoot Flash over, bring him to the forefront. Well, I mean, I can adjust his size. I don't know. I'm not really liking that as much. Your idea is bad, okay? I'm just kidding. But anyway. So I'll leave it like that for now. I'm liking how this is going so far. But I think I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna kind of warp it a little bit so that it is a little more interesting looking, and probably stretch it so it's easier to read. is harder. Maybe that's harder to read. Put Speed Force in the middle and have them run towards each other. I tried that sort of at the beginning where they were running opposite directions, but I made the call to make them both running the same direction because it made more sense, and that's how superhero group shots tend to look. I am going to tinker around with Impulse, see if I can get him to be a little less... fit a little bit more into... I'm kind of watching the skin tones between the two. I want those to match each other. It's very subtle, but he flashes a little bit pinker. And if I can kind of bump up the saturation. Okay, and then let's go with... Let's do the same thing on Flash a little bit. Kind of make them kind of fit in the same color space. But I do want to darken Flash just a little bit. It's a little too bright tomato. Okay. I think the anime speed lines in the background are going the wrong direction. That's a good point. I don't want to change the lines themselves because that's kind of part of the branding. But for instance, in this one, I put a explosion I had created in After Effects for an old Legacies of the DCAU promo that we did for our comic book. So I just kind of pasted that in there. So I'll probably do something similar with this where I put some sort of, anime speed lines is a really good idea. I'm just going to kind of find a good, here's a kind of a cool looking one, although I'll go to large. Oh, I like that one. Let's try this. Copy. I'm going to paste this guy. Ooh, already I like how that looks with the purple and blue like that. I'm going to try a couple of different things. Let's see. Just kind of trying different blending modes to see what's going to look better. It's a little bit unfortunate because if you see that, I just pointed with my finger. Obviously you can't see that. If you look on the little preview up here, the darker the background, the more Flash Impulse and the text pop out of the background, but it's not as cool looking as this. I don't want to just directly use exactly that. Another thing is I don't like, this looks really cool just looking at it, especially in, you can see in this thing. It's kind of a balance between the composition of the picture with how it's going to look as a really small thumbnail on YouTube. So for instance, I used to do the thumbnails a lot more complicated than I do them now. Our more recent ones are like a solid color background, 1 to 2 characters, the text that describes the basic thing that you want people to see, versus here's a really fucking complicated one. Pardon my French. There's Batman, but there's also Mr. Miracles in the background. We've got our green podcast background back there that's like, it was like a metal texture. There's a lot going on in this. If you look at it, it might be like, holy crap, especially there's also this logo, this text, this different colors, all this stuff. I think it was actually around when I did this little break announcement where I went like, oh, huh, that thumbnail design is actually not too bad by itself. Again, like, this is really complicated. All the textures and stuff, they look really cool as when you're just looking at it on Photoshop, but doing it as the actual thumbnail doesn't catch your eye as quickly of what you're supposed to look at. I want you to see Batman, Catwoman, and this text. I don't want, I did that for this one, but these are a little more detailed drawings, and I didn't, I wanted people to see, oh my god, well, look at this cool thing. AD says, when is the continuation of the DCAU episode coming? A lot of people are asking us this question, and I'm not really sure what you expect us to make at this point, because we've made the video we just did is caught up all the way through Batman Hush, which is the most recent DCAU movie. When another one comes out, we'll either do one per movie, or we will probably do like another chunk or something like that. We haven't really talked about it much, but that's come up a lot. It'll happen. I'm glad that that's been a popular video because, you know, it's not in the same universe that we usually cover. So, does Superman reach his full power before Justice League vs. Fatal 5 because he's fast enough to fly to the sun? But in the Eclipse episode, he said yeah, that's kind of just like not really a plot hole, but just kind of a writer's choice, I guess, of you know, why Superman in Destroyer, the final JLU episode. Oh yeah, they are probably talking about our storyline. I'll come back to that. In the final episode of Destroyer, you know, Superman, I live in a world made of cardboard and all this stuff. That's not necessarily him realizing his power. Like, he's always had that much power. He's always been at like All Might level, you know, strength, like ridiculousness, but he just doesn't use it because writing. And because Darkseid can take it, can't he, big man? So I guess it could be that he isn't, you know, he didn't see that it was, it would have put anyone in a bad situation if he flew to the sun that fast or anything. But also in Eclipsed, he was just possessed by snake monsters, and he had a bunch of, you know, his entire like body was drained of energy when they left his body and all this stuff. So it's kind of like up in the air whether he was really strong enough to do that. So anyway, the storyline in the DCAU video, we're trying to do a video, like, so we do 2 Sunday videos a month typically, and one of them is our own choice and one of them is the Patreon voting choice. And we've been trying to do it to where each of our personal choice for Sunday videos are continuing the storyline. But they won't always do that. It might be a couple months between each point, but we want to make sure that each next step in that story comes out the way we want it to and isn't rushed into. So anyway, so I'm going to go back to trying to find the best look for this background. So far I'm liking ones that kind of emphasize the highlights and the blues. I'm probably going to go... So this is what it is by itself, and honestly it's not bad by itself, like if you look at the little navigator preview there. But I do want to make sure that the stripes are represented. That's kind of cool, but again, it's not... there's a lot of yellow and red, which is the same as the Flash, so... that one's just plain red, because this is going off of the color below it on the stripes layer. So I think I'm gonna go... Honestly, I kind of just like this the way it is, so I might try instead kind of reversing it. I know it's not going to be much different, but it is a little... There are some changes here. So I've switched the layers and I'm trying different blending modes with that one being on top instead. That's kind of nice. It mostly just upped the saturation on the color because it's saturation. And I don't know. Maybe I won't go with the stripes on this one. Maybe I'll just go with this kind of swooshy background. Looks pretty nice. What was it in the DCAU timeline James was planning for Jay's Reviews? Guy sounds like a chump. Yeah, I guess we'll have to find out on the Jay's Reviews channel. Still playing music? Yes. Okay. Favorite pie? Mine's pumpkin. I'm a cheesecake man myself. I enjoy a good cherry cheesecake. I do not really like cake, like birthday cake kind of cake. It's very dry by comparison. But you know, everyone's got their own opinions, okay? So, I definitely want the word Speed Force on here, and I'm hoping that I can also fit in, you know, some sort of like subtitle or something. So let me see if I can duplicate this and change it to white. I usually do white for the subtitles. How do I feel about the band Cake? The band Cake is dope. AF. Let's go. Oh, that's so weird. Okay, I guess A's look weird, but let's try an explained. Yeah, let's try explained. The nice thing about text on modern Photoshop, this was not the case on older versions of Photoshop, is that you can, text is vector, so you can just continue to shrink and expand it. I don't have to just play around with the text size. I can just do exactly what I want to do without having to worry about it getting all pixelated and gross. It's not bad, but it's a little... what's the right word? There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot going on here. Put Cake the band into the thumbnail. All right, let's see. Where can we find a good? Is there anything? I wonder if there's anything. Oh. Cake going the distance. That'll work for Flash related. Ooh, he's even got a ring, like the Flash ring. Yeah, I mean, this joke has lost its luster already. But with the Cake Pig in it, maybe? That was the album that was on. It has nothing to do with the video. I'll just leave it like it is. Yeah, I'll shrink the Flashman down a little bit. What I was mostly concerned about was how busy the... I don't know if I want them to be smaller, though, because I want you to see those before you see anything else. Although, even just that tiny amount kind of helps. So, see if I can move them over a little bit more. The whole time I'm doing this, I'm thinking rule of thirds. So, and this is kind of like a cinematography, photography thing. But there's a line here, and a line, and a line, oh my god, of course. I had to move them to exactly where I wanted them and then mess it all up. There's also a line here, which divides the frame into 3 equal parts. And typically, if you are looking the way the Flash and Impulse are looking, you want the space on this side and vice versa. You'll notice if I move them over here, it feels really uncomfortable. You don't know what's going on. This is another tactic used in film, though, because it can be used to kind of do exactly that, create a feeling of discomfort, or, you know, oh my gosh. What's Hot Girl? What's the thing that Hot Girl doesn't like? Where it's small spaces. Claustrophobia. If you want people to feel uncomfortable. I don't want people to feel uncomfortable. I want them to click this dang video. So I meant shrink them so you can fit J. Oh, a ding-a-ling. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know if I need another. I don't know if I need another character in this. I'll try adding them, but it might just make it too much, especially with this. I'm gonna change this though, because I don't really, the video isn't an explained kind of video. It's more of a here's everything we know about the Speed Force in the DCAU. So I'm going to maybe make it kind of a what is it? Let's try, what is it? I'm also gonna try matching the angle of the flash and impulse a little bit better. I know that's, I'm gonna have to enlarge this some, but that kind of better matches the angle that they are running at versus what it was before. Is that what it is now? Though it does kind of get rid of a little bit of the contrast of the blue, so I'll probably leave it. But I think I will expand it this way some. That way there's more blue behind flash. So there we go. So we're getting there. I know this is super interesting stuff. Thanks for anyone who's stuck around so far. But yeah. Why didn't Dr. Fate ever meet Dr. Destiny? Their names are synonyms after all. I've never really thought about that. It's a good question. I don't know. Dr. Future. Dr. Prophecy. Let's see. What else can I do to this to make it... I still don't really like the distance they are from the edge. By the way, at some point during all of this, my wife is going to come home. And she'll be like, "What are you doing? What are you buying?" And I'll be like, "Pizza to take home for the kids." And she'll be like, "What are you selling?" And I'll be like, "Nothing." But she'll either cameo in the video or she won't. So I'm liking this so far. I'm kind of just doing little tiny tweaks the more I go. Honestly, if anyone has suggestions, if you have any, like, oh, try this. But I'm kind of liking how this is looking. I'm referencing this. I need that. I need them stripes. I need them stripes as a part of it. That's cool. It's a lot though. Oops. Oh my god. Nope. So like, this pin, no, it was linear light, I think. Yeah. It's really high contrast, really out there look, but if I kind of adjust the hue of the background to be not red, then we're gonna get a lot of different options. Yeah, I agree that what is it does look too small, but if I make, well, I can try making the entirety of the text bigger. So let's see, do we like, oops, there we go. Do we like this by itself, or do we like it with this greenish yellow backdrop, which kind of changes it to be a little more red? Though again, having it be too red is going to be an issue. But yeah, I'll go ahead and try messing with the text a little bit. I can probably make it a little bit bigger. It's going to do this to me. It does this weird glitchy thing sometimes where it doesn't actually do it on the real text, but as you saw when I'm enlarging it, it's just kind of like freaking out with the stroke there. But it was having a stroke. I talked before about how I don't want to have anything right here in the corner because that's where the time is going to go. So hopefully my amount of tilting it is going to do enough there. Same thing though with the text in here is, Maddie and I go back and forth on ideas for these ones that whenever the video is going to come out, and we've kind of come to the consensus, I guess, that like we shouldn't have the text in the thumbnail be the exact same text as the Speed Force your mom to buy you a pizza. Yeah, shouldn't have the text be the same thing as what's in the title, and I'm probably planning on having the title be like Speed Force and the DCAU, everything we know, or something like that. So I don't want to have it be the exact same text, but I do want you to know this video is about the Speed Force, god damn it. So here it is. Here's the word Speed Force. I don't know if I like, see, it's easier to, so yellow and purple, opposite color wheel colors. So the yellow against the purple, as I'm looking up here, is a lot easier to read than with it like that. So maybe I will kind of put this back to what it was, more or less. But I'll change this to, oops, wrong one. I'll change this to, it is what it sounds like when I type ha 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 ha. I was having a conversation with my high school friends about how many ha's equal an actual laugh in real life. And we kind of decided that if you just type haha, you've acknowledged that the joke was funny, but you probably didn't laugh in real life, or at most you went and and if you do ha ha ha, that was you kind of actually like and if it's more than ha ha ha, if it's then it was like a true like, oh my god, you actually laughed at that, great. So now you know the code. If you want to use that against me in the future, like if I'll do haha, I've acknowledged that the thing is funny, but I didn't necessarily laugh in real life. Let's go with, God, none of this is really working for me. I kind of like this weird inverted version though, because it's a little dark and cool looking. But man, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna honestly go with it as it is. Maybe I will just try changing the opacity so that a little bit of the stripes show through, but I agree. I'm going to switch it up just for this one. I don't want to do that. Just for this one time. So the stripes are going basically the same direction as the thing. They're a little bit different, but it does help with the motion. So, that is pretty much it. Speed Force, try not to think too hard about it. Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of the thing that comes down to all the time with these, is there's a lot of little picky things that I'll do. Like already I can tell I probably still want them over a little bit more. Maybe not that much. God, it's a give and take constantly. I still don't like that. So yeah, I'll just leave it like that. So if you guys, if you decide, by the time you watch the video, maybe I'll have changed this a little bit more. Maybe we'll have some conversations between me, Maddie, and Ted about what to change about it. But for the most part, this is it. Thanks you for watching, everybody. The video is coming out on Sunday. You will see it in your notifications if you have notifications on. And yeah, I'll stick on here for maybe another 5 minutes or so for answering questions or whatever we want to chat about. But I'm pretty happy with this. Again, I'll compare it to our normal thumbnails just to kind of make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm noticing that the Watchtower logo, if you'll notice, when I switch over to the other one, it moves a little bit. I'm not really sure why that is. I think maybe usually I'll just use this template PSD, so yeah, I will watch for that, Dylan, thanks. So I don't ever mess with this. When I recreated it, maybe I didn't put it in the same place, because it is definitely smack dab there, locked in the corner. Is that what I did? Nope. Maybe it's only 2. I think that's close enough, yeah. Discord chat. Who is it? Oh, I'll get back to him. Yeah, if you want to join the Discord, there's a link to that in the community tab. Or no, sorry, it's the About tab on our channel. Down here, Discord. goes right to it. Watchtower Database. Accept the invite. Come hang out with us. Maddie and I are on there all the time. Ted's on there when he feels like it. Usually when a Legacies issue comes out, or if he wants to talk about graphic content or something. Yeah, this is the Speed Force video. For anyone that wasn't with us at the start, I kind of gave you a little bit of a preview. Here, I'll pause the music. I'll start at the top of the video. You can get a little bit of a preview of the video here for Sunday. So here we go. The Speed Force, truly an enigma.
Mr. Enigma. Edward Nigma.
No, not that kind. I mean, like a mystery.
Lisa!
Okay, yeah, no, not doing this. In DC Comics, the Speed Force is what gives the Flash and other speedsters their power. Well, that's not entirely true. The Flash is also sort of the fuel for the Speed Force, so it's kind of a symbiotic relationship.
We call them symbiotes.
No! First introduced in the Flash number 91 in 1994, the Speed Force really hasn't been around that long. Alright, I'm going to stop it there, because I don't want to give you too much of a taste. But yeah, that video will be out on Sunday. It'll also be out tomorrow for Patreon supporters, even at the lowest tier. It's $1 a month. Again, that's patreon.com/DCAU Watchtower. We've got a handful of new supporters lately, so if you're one of those, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. I am realizing that I have not saved this at all, and that would be really funny if I forgot to. So I'm gonna go. Actually, usually I will say. So when I do the thumbnails for the podcast, I'll save them all in the same place. You can't see them right now. There we go. But when I do the thumbnails for individual videos, I'll usually put them directly in the folder for that video. Batman Trump, Black Heroes Matter, Fatal 5 review, etc. Because these are so full right now, where I usually would save it, I've been doing it directly onto my computer, which you can also see is filling up fast. Patreon.com/DCAU Watchtower. Help me buy new hard drives, my God. So I'm going to save this as thumbnail. Oh, not all caps, though. This is not 1999. And when I do this, so 12 is like the maximum quality. But I find that when I do that, sometimes YouTube, or sometimes the file will be too big. You can watch how big it'll be there. And if it's over 2 megabytes, YouTube will not take it. So usually I just keep it at 10 because it's not that much worse quality. You really can't tell. And I don't have to ever really think about it. So I'll also save a PSD. Proxies are off. Yeah, I don't usually use proxies for this. My computer is decent enough that it can handle it. But honestly, this footage that we used in the video, this is all from the DVDs, which I have purchased many times over. And this is like the footage itself right now. I have it set to fill the screen, but it's really this big. So it's not it's not the largest. Like this is it at 100%. You can kind of see the quality isn't amazing, but it is. It does it just fine. But yeah, my computer seems to keep up with it just fine. Although I usually edit at either half or quarter resolution. And then on the other side of things, when I'm doing a video of like, for instance, Vanishing Point, where Maddie has sent me live footage of himself. I'll definitely have it down at quarter resolution, especially when I put all the adjustment layers and everything on for his color correction and blah, 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 blah. But that's, if you guys would like to see kind of me editing a video at some point, that might be kind of fun. I've thought about it a few times. Adam just recently brought it up to me this morning about maybe doing that sometime. I don't know how easy it'll be. Again, you'd be watching this whole thing without me on screen or anything, showing you, like, here's me in my house, in my clothes, with a bottle of water. But you can watch me do, and it would be a little more difficult to kind of show you, who am I kidding? We'll figure it out. If you want to see that, let me know. I use Adobe Premiere, and I just have all the Adobe programs. So again, look out for this video on Sunday or tomorrow if you're a patron, or maybe tonight if you're a patron. I've been trying to kind of send them out to patrons as soon as they exist at all, because I want them to have it as soon as possible. And yeah, do you guys keep every DCAU episode on your CPU? I don't have every episode, but I have most of them. So I have, here's all the series, the Zeta Project. So I have, what I'll do is, so these are old ones that are like worse, file types and stuff. That I should probably just delete those. How much space am I having well, there we go. So Zeta Project, we haven't done too many videos on that, as you know. But we, I'll if I need an episode. So I think this is the one that has, I can't show really too much of it. No, that's not it. Oh, no, that was just the intro. Whoops. I think this is the one, yes, that has the Unit Zeta went renegade on August 5th, 2041 quote. So that's why I have this one ripped from the DVDs, which I own, Warner Brothers. So I'll just do it episode by episode, but, for instance, Justice League, I think I have every episode on here. Justice League Unlimited, I think I have every episode. Because we use those shows a lot. Gotham Girls, these are all downloaded from the World's Finest website that I showed you earlier. They've got them all on there. Yeah. And the movies, all of the canon movies, like Batman and Harley Quinn, Justice League vs. Fatal 5, Sub-Zero, even Sub-Zero's canon. What do you know? Static Shock, etc., etc. And I've also got same thing with the DCAU comics. We definitely don't have all of those on my computer, but Maddie has been kind of formulating a library of them all. And again, this is all stuff that we have at one point or another paid for between the three of us, and so we're kind of, or sometimes all three of us have bought them over time, and we just kind of have them as a collection to use for the videos or to use for posts on social media, all sorts of stuff. When you do a video, do you rewatch all the important episodes again and again? What episode have you rewatched the most? I get that question a lot when people are asking me about editing. I don't actually reference. Okay, so two different parts to this, I guess. If I am just editing, like for instance, the Speed Force video, it has to do a lot with the episode Divided We Fall. Where is it? That's... Yeah, Divided We Fall. The penultimate, that means second to last, episode of the show's second season. That was a really coincidental clip I just chose from the video for me to be talking about stuff. But yeah, since I know I'll need that episode and a handful of other Flash episodes, I've seen all these episodes so many times that I can just kind of scrub through and go like, oh yeah, I know there's a shot there where the Flash shrugged or the Flash did this thing or whatever, and I'll just use that mostly from memory. If you're talking about like researching for the videos, we definitely, a lot of stuff comes from memory too, but we will go back and rewatch ones that we're talking about. Like if Maddie's doing a Vanishing Point about the Riddler, he just watched If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich? Found a 1992 calendar he didn't know was there. And then, then we had that information that we didn't have before. So there's always stuff that we miss or have forgotten about or whatever. We just did a Task Force X Vanishing Point, and there's a line that Batman says in Flash and Substance about, like, Waller told me Boomerang left Task Force X or something like that, and I feel like I should have included that in the video, and I feel dumb for not doing that. But it's stuff like that, like, our brains can't remember everything, but I do an okay job. But yeah, when we're writing scripts and stuff, we definitely reference the episodes, just to make sure we don't miss or misremember something. To Static Shock, Tim Drake, Barbara Gordon, Dick Grayson, and Gear join the Justice League. No idea. Static definitely, eventually anyway. Aquagirl part of the Aquaman embargo. I don't know. That's a good question because she appeared in Epilogue, and she was. I don't know if she counts as a, because I mean Aquagirl. The title Aquagirl is definitely not DCAU specific, but that character, I believe, that version of the character is original to the DCAU. Here's Flash. We don't need to talk about that part of the video. Okay, this is gonna be my last question before I hop off. Mad C, do you plan on doing a single huge video going through the timeline of the DCAU in a 1973 This Happens type of way later down the line? Maybe, yeah. It'll probably be a few years from now because there's a lot to go through still. But definitely going to have kind of what we did with the DCAU video, kind of a smaller, here's the basics, here's the big hit points kind of thing eventually. So yeah. So, okay, that's it. Thank you for watching, everybody. See ya if I do this again. Goodbye.